The first one arrived on a Tuesday. Dr. Marcus Chen was closing his small clinic on the outskirts of New Terre Colony when the escape pod screamed through the atmosphere. It crashed 300 meters from his prefab shelter, scorching the red earth black. He found her in the wreckage, a young woman no older than 20, with silver blood leaking from a gash across her forehead and eyes that burned like distant stars. "Please," she whispered in flawless Terran standard, though her accent carried the musical lilt of the Andromedan courts. "They will kill me if they find me." Marcus didn't ask questions. He was human after all, and humans had a particular talent for picking up strays. He carried her inside, treated her wounds with supplies meant for colonists, and gave her the spare room that still smelled faintly of paint. Her name was Lycerys, and she was the crown princess of the Andromedan sovereignty, or had been, until her uncle's coup had painted the palace walls with her family's blood. She was the last survivor, hunted across 3 galaxies by assassins who wouldn't stop until her bloodline was extinct. Marcus hid her for 6 months. He taught her to dress like a colonist, to speak with a rougher accent, to walk without the gliding grace that marked nobility. She learned to clean surgical instruments and mix antibiotics, working beside him as his assistant. At night, she told him stories of her empire, of cities that floated between dimensions, of ships that sailed on solar winds, of the Andromedan philosophy that all sentient beings deserved protection. Then came the second princess, Kael'Tara of the Obsidian Throne, crash-landed during the summer monsoons, her stealth craft torn apart by plasma fire. She was harder than Lycerys, scarred by war, her jade-colored skin marked with ritual tattoos that denoted military command. Her empire had been consumed by a theocratic rebellion that viewed her secular rule as heresy. "You're harboring another?" Kael'Tara asked when she saw Lycerys, suspicion sharp in her voice. "I'm harboring someone who needs help," Marcus replied simply. "Same as you." The third arrived within the year, Princess Jenna of the Crystal Hegemony, whose crime had been advocating for the rights of lower castes in a society built on genetic hierarchy. Then came Orisha, Mavena, and Talara, each from different corners of the galactic arm, each fleeing death, each finding refuge in the cramped clinic of a human doctor who asked for nothing in return. Marcus expanded the clinic. He built additional rooms, installed better security systems, and quietly registered them all as medical assistants under false names. New Terre was a frontier world, far from the core systems where questions might be asked. The Galactic Council's authority barely reached this far, and humans were known for their peculiar habit of ignoring regulations when morality demanded it. For 7 years, they lived in that strange sanctuary. The princesses learned human medicine, human cooking, human humor. They celebrated Christmas and Diwali, learned to play poker and argue about Earth movies. Marcus never asked them to leave, never demanded repayment. When Lycerys once asked him why he risked so much for strangers, he'd simply shrugged. "Because you needed help," he said. "That's what humans do. But empires, like wounds, eventually heal or fester. And these women were born to rule. Lycerys was the first to reclaim her throne. The resistance movement found her, begged her to return, and she led a campaign that would be studied in military academies for generations. Within 18 months, her uncle's head decorated a pike outside the restored palace. Then Kael'Tara. Then Xena. One by one, they returned to their empires, each igniting revolutions that burned away the rot. They became legends, warrior queens who had vanished into the darkness and returned wielding fire, and each one remembered the human doctor who had sheltered them. The delegation arrived on a Tuesday, exactly 8 years after Lycerys' crash landing. 7 dreadnoughts materialized in orbit around New Terre, their combined firepower enough to crack the planet's crust. The colony governor nearly had a stroke. They came for Marcus in procession, 7 empresses in full regalia, their ships painted with royal colors, their guards bristling with weapons. They knelt before his clinic, and Lycerys spoke for all of them. "Dr. Marcus Chen, you gave us sanctuary when we had nothing. You asked for nothing in return. Now we have everything, and we offer it to you. Name your reward: wealth beyond measure, territory, a seat on the Galactic Council, immortality if you wish it. Anything within our power to grant is yours." Marcus looked at the 7 most powerful women in the known galaxy, kneeling in the red dust of New Terre. He thought about the years of shared meals, of teaching them to set bones and laugh at bad jokes, of watching them slowly remember how to hope. "Stand up," he said quietly. "Please." They rose, confusion flickering across their faces. "I don't want payment for doing the right thing," Marcus continued. But, Lycerus leaned forward, eager. "But I could use some help with the clinic. We're getting more refugees every month. People displaced by wars, by famines, by the same kind of violence you all escaped. If you really want to repay me, help me expand this place. Make it a real sanctuary. Not just for princesses, but for anyone who needs it." 7 empresses exchanged glances. Then as one, they smiled. Within the year, the Marcus Chen Medical Complex sprawled across 50 square kilometers. It held the most advanced medical technology from 7 different empires, staffed by volunteers from across the galaxy. It became neutral ground, protected by treaty and enforced by the combined might of 7 imperial fleets. But on Tuesday evenings, the empresses still returned when they could, trading their crowns for scrubs, working beside the human doctor who'd taught them that true power lay not in thrones or fleets, but in the simple act of sheltering those who had nowhere else to go. Because that, after all, was what humans did best.